Oh, I'm in a glass case of emotion. For Comic Book Now, it's 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I don't know if you're catching the trend on the new Comic Book Now openings. If you are, let us know in the comment section. You won't win a prize, but it'll be cool. Welcome to Comic Book Now. I'm your host, Brandon Davis. Call me BD. Joined today, it's Monday. Charlie Ridgely's on the show.
I'm here. I missed you guys. I'm glad to be back.
It's hot in here. Charlie Ridgely's here, guys. Charlie is monitoring the comment section. Tell him what you're doing.
I'm watching. I'm watching long enough to see the Tyler Timothy thinks that impression, because of that, you should be famous.
We're working on it, Tyler Timothy. We are working on it. I need your help. Hit the share button. Let's start with the top 5 stories. We have a new teaser trailer, which means that before the week is over, we will be watching a whole trailer here on Comic Book Now. More exciting, it's for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and the new trailer will be released tomorrow night on Jimmy Kimmel Live. But for right now, let's check out this teaser.
Dude. What? Dude. What?
Whoosh, that movie is going to be amazing. Speaking of amazing, you know what movie has more Oscars than Shawshank Redemption, Fight Club, The Shining, Memento, Heat, and The Avengers combined? Suicide Squad. The DC Films and Warner Brothers movie took home an Oscar award last night in the category of Best Makeup and Hairstyling. Now, this includes the Joker, Harley Quinn, El Diablo, and a few other makeup-heavy characters, but none which deserve the respect of the man on your screen like Killer Croc. That was a lot of work. A team of artists led by Alessandro Bertolazzi, Giorgio Gregorini, and Christopher Nelson, and supplemented by the help of The Walking Dead's Greg Nicotero, took home the award last night, making Suicide Squad the only Oscar award-winning comic book movie of 2016, and the first since 2008's The Dark Knight. Every movie with the Joker in it has won an Oscar award. Speaking of Greg Nicotero and The Walking Dead, though, the executive producer and VFX genius will be directing this Sunday's new episode, but the AMC series added an intense and heartbreaking episode to its lineup just last night, with Dwight and Eugene appearing to flip-flop in their allegiances. Eugene became Negan and Dwight lost Sherry, spoiler alert, which Austin Amelio tells me over the weekend was the character's breaking point. He went as far to say that he hopes to see Dwight fulfill his comic book arc of betraying Negan and the Saviors in favor of Rick and Alexandria. Whether or not it will happen, we'll have to wait and see. We have 5 episodes left in Season 7, people, and if you didn't join us for After the Dead, you missed out on an awesome exclusive interview, so you'll have to make up for that by joining us this Wednesday with Danae Garcia and Sunday night with an awesome surprise cast member, which I'm not ready to announce yet. Just after we had a slew of good news from Simon Kinberg on Friday regarding Gambit, Fantastic Four, and other 20th Century Fox licensed Marvel properties, we get this. Deadpool 2 is pushing back its production date. Boo! The timetable originally called for an early May start to production, but new reports from Omega Underground have the film shooting from June 19th to September 18th. When ComicBook.com spoke to Kinberg on Friday, the producer said that there will be 2 to 3 X-Men films in production this year, 2017. So let's hope this doesn't affect that number and limit it to just 2. We want 3. X-Force and New Mutants are also somewhere along the way, so let's hope they come sooner than later. Speaking of production start dates, how about this? Avatar 2 looks like it is actually happening after all of these years. After years of hints, promises, updates, false starts, and now a forthcoming Disney theme park for Avatar, James Cameron's long-awaited sequel to the most successful film in box office history is finally undergoing production, as spotted on the casting site My Entertainment World, which updates their site with filming schedules and locations. Avatar 2 is set to begin filming on August 15th of 2017. It also states the production will begin taking place in Manhattan Beach, California, with no word on if it will return to New Zealand, which is where a lot of the first film shooting took place. Now, before we turn it over to the comments section, we wanted to pay our respects to legendary actor Bill Paxton, who passed away unexpectedly over the weekend. The actor's been a part of so many amazing franchises, which made this difficult, but we're going to take a look at his 6 best roles from all of Bill Paxton's career.
Bill Paxton passed away at 61, leaving many iconic performances and some amazing films throughout his career. While he might have made a name for himself as the smarmy and smug type, he showed an impressive range of emotion, nuance, and complexity over the years. The deceased actor deserves recognition in the wake of his death, and so we are looking back at 6 of his most memorable roles. Aliens. After a minor appearance in The Terminator, James Cameron brought Paxton on board in his sequel to the Ridley Scott classic. Paxton played the most memorable in the outfit, Private Hudson, a cocky and chipper technician whose nerves were quickly frayed when the mission went south. Weird Science. While he doesn't play the most significant role in the film, it's one of those classic Bill Paxton characters that cannot go without being mentioned. As the older brother to one of the nerds, Paxton's Chet is a constant source of torment. He attempts to portray himself as a military man, but he really is anything but. Twister. This movie was notable for being among the first disaster movies of the 90s, a theme that extended with later films like Armageddon, Deep Impact, Volcano, and more. But Twister remains among the most memorable, thanks mostly to Paxton and Hunt's chemistry in the midst of the chaos. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. When Paxton was cast as a character named John Garrett, fans wondered if the character would stay true to his comic book roots. His arc on the show was short-lived, but memorable and impactful, and his legacy has endured well into the series. Big Love. One of HBO's most successful series, Big Love was the true successor to The Sopranos, and a lot of it was thanks to Paxton. In the series, he played the patriarch of the Henriksen family, juggling his hardware store business while married to 3 women. Apollo 13. Paxton's appearance in the Ron Howard film Apollo 13 really cemented the fact that he was not one note. In the film, his character is stretched to the brink and nearly frayed. His temperaments are often soothed by Hank's cool and calm demeanor in the face of danger. A huge testament to Bill Paxton's career is that we barely scratched the surface on the many amazing movies he had roles in. We here at Comicbook.com will miss him and continue to celebrate the films he left behind.
I'll tell you something, one movie not mentioned there, one of my all-time favorite films, Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow is awesome. He was great in that. One that I really loved was Frailty. If you guys haven't seen Frailty before, he directed it and he starred in it with Matthew McConaughey. It's a crazy thriller. It's so good. We're going to miss Bill Paxton a lot. He was one of the biggest icons in Hollywood to me. Always loved him. And we actually had a question in the comments. Carlos Medina wanted to know if they released the official cause of Bill Paxton's death. And they said in the statement from his family there's a complication in surgery. So
yeah, he was having some heart surgery over the weekend. And,
so it's terribly sad.
It's a shame something went wrong.
Yep.
But on a higher note, we are at our favorite part of the show. It's time for questions, comments, and all that good stuff from the comment section. And we are live, so drop your comments in the comment section on Facebook, YouTube, and we will address as many of them. We are live as we can. Charlie, start us off.
All right. Well, let's see. Over on Facebook, Daniel Casarini wants to know which DC movies will start production this year. Maybe Suicide Squad 2 or Nightwing.
Well, there's Suicide Squad and 2 and Nightwing are both really far off. Aquaman is in production right now.
They're going to shoot in the next couple of months.
They're in pre-production. They're going to start shooting. And The Flash was supposed to be in production already, but all those creative shakeups have it delayed. They're going to switch spots.
I would be surprised if they didn't.
They're going to. Aquaman is going to move up to the Flash's spot, and the Flash is going to move back to at least Aquaman's spot, if not later.
Further. I mean, you got to think if Flash wants to get on schedule, even after that switch, that means they're putting on a movie in the late months of 2018.
And that movie is going to be very special effects heavy.
Yeah, and they don't have a director. That it's going to be a lot to get that going. But Aquaman is way ahead of schedule.
The Flash is going to get pushed back a lot. I've heard there's a lot of things going on. Creative changes are taking over, and Aquaman is going to come up, which is great because I think Aquaman, James Wan, Jason Momoa, it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, I'm really excited about what's going on.
Nightwing and Suicide Squad 2, it's going to be a while before they'll start production.
Charles Diaz, actually, we got some comments on YouTube. You guys on YouTube are awesome with these comments. You're rolling through. You got a lot to say. We love that you guys are using that medium. Charles Diaz over on YouTube wants to know if Nightwing, and we talked about it a lot last week, if his introduction is going to be some kind of live action Teen Titans thing, or you think it's going to be on his own?
I think he'll be introduced in the Batmans in one way or another. Maybe Justice League 2. It's not going to come in Justice League, the first one. But I don't think we're going to get Teen Titans just yet. It's going to be a while because they have so many characters already to introduce, so many stories that they already have to tell, and a Teen Titans roster is so many more to introduce. We haven't met Cyborg. We haven't met the Flash. We've literally witnessed them on the screen. We haven't actually met them. We have a lot of characters to meet. We're not there yet.
And I think if they went with it, in the route of the DC movies, it might make sense to actually have Barry Allen's Flash interact with the Teen Titans a little bit because he's the younger part of the group, him and Cyborg.
Yeah, right.
Even though Wally West is traditionally that guy.
I hope they save it a little bit. Let Ezra Miller grow up. Let Barry Allen grow up in the DCEU, and then introduce Wally West, and then we'll get to Teen Titans.
Well,
hold off a little bit.
If we get a huge, a lot of critics love Nightwing, and fans are really loving Nightwing from the Batman movie, from the Nightwing solo movie, we will see the Teen Titans happen.
Right.
It might be sooner than we thought because people are really into it. But that's years down the line either way. All right, let's see. Moving on. Jorge Arias, I hope I said that right. He wants to know if Quake from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. will show up in the Inhumans movie. Now, just to clarify, it will be showing in IMAX, but that's actually the first 2 episodes of the Inhumans show. They're going to air on ABC.
It's an 8-episode series that's going to ABC. And as for Quake showing up, I don't think so. I have no reason to believe she will. But what's interesting about this, the most interesting bit of Inhumans news I've heard recently, is that an actor from Lost, we were talking about this last week, they won't say who, but an actor from Lost is joining the cast of Inhumans in a big role. I hope it's Josh Holloway, maybe Matthew Fox as Black Bolt. But I think it's probably Josh Holloway because I don't know what's going to happen with Colony Season 3, if that's going to happen. And even if it does, that show takes a long break in between shooting. So he could do 8 episodes of Inhumans in the meantime.
What I'd like to see was actually a pick. You and I were texting over the weekend about this news, about that possible Lost actor coming on. Dominic Monaghan as Karnak is something I would love to see.
He totally fits the bill. He hasn't really been doing much acting. He's been really getting into music, which is funny because he's taking Charlie Pace seriously. But it seems like he's more into music lately ever since Flash Forward wasn't a hit after Lost. But
he's also been doing a ton of humanitarian stuff. He's been traveling all over the world working with animals. He's been doing a ton since Lost, just we haven't seen him on screen. Let's see. You might have some insight on this. Abby Lindsay wants to know a question that I think a lot of fans have been asking. Is Hugh Jackman really done? After Logan, is this really the last time he's going to do it?
Yeah, Abby.
I think so too.
And I hope so. And I really do hope so because I don't want to spoil anything, and this isn't a spoiler. Logan has such a great ending, and it's such a beautiful film, and it's such a perfect finale that I don't want them to do anything with Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I don't want them to tarnish this finale, this send-off for him and that character, and the way it ends, especially with everybody. For Patrick Stewart, I understand why Patrick Stewart is saying he's done now. I don't think you need to touch the character. You don't need to bring Hugh Jackman back. As much as I love Wolverine, and I grew up with Hugh Jackman's portrayal, this is a perfect ending. We don't need him back.
But do you think we are going to see Wolverine again?
We'll see. Actually, this is one of the things I asked Kinberg about, and I said, what does this mean for I asked how the ending of Logan, what does it mean for the future of the Wolverine? He says, well, it means we're going to see the character again sometime. It just won't be Hugh Jackman in the role.
You heard it here. You heard it here. All right, I'm over on Facebook. Mystery Brick wants to know what is happening with the Lego movies. Are we going to see another Lego movie now that Lego Batman did so well?
A lot of Lego
We're going to get a ton of Lego movies, and
Lego
actually,
Ninjago, Lego Batman 2. I'm pretty sure is already
the
on
Lego
the way.
movie
Lego
2
movie
is on the way. We're going to see that
3 or 4.
spinning everywhere, and I think that one of the producers of the Lego Batman movie, as well as Chris McKay, they were talking in an interview, and they said that this is really opening up a connected universe. The effects of the Lego Batman 2, or the Lego Batman 1, are going to affect the Lego Movie 2 because that character's in both movies. So you're going to see a lot of that crossover start to happen.
But I also think it's cool how they're going to keep it kind of balanced and not make it like you had to see every movie to understand this one.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of like more classic comic series where you could jump in at any point and enjoy what's going on. You don't have to see all of them like you do with the connected universes now. All right, my good pal Angela Lopez. That must be a question. Just had more of a statement for us on Twitter. She said, Netflix, Will Smith, Bright, discuss.
It's a movie that's happening on Netflix with David Ayer directing it. Congrats to David Ayer on his film getting an Oscar last night.
Yeah.
This is really cool. And a lot of people probably don't know what we're talking about.
Right.
So we knew we were going to answer this question. Charlie suggested we pull up the teaser trailer. So before we talk about it, let's pull up this trailer. Let's check this out.
This land is your land, and this land is my land. From the California to the New York Island, this land was made for you and me.
I'm assuming this doesn't end well.
Now, I don't really know exactly what that movie's about just yet,
No clue.
but
No clue.
I did see Charlie freak out after the first time he watched it. He was like, that was so cool. And I was like, why? Because Will Smith is holding a sword?
I mean, partly. I mean, it's a futuristic cop thing. Will Smith has a sword. More importantly, he has the Independence Day mustache going on. I love
that. And
that.
it's a reteam because
Yeah.
my fafavorite part of Suicide Squad was Deadshot.
Yeah.
And with David Ayer and Will Smith teaming up again, I think that's
Well, and
that's
they've
awesome.
also got the Edgerton from Warrior. Joel Edgerton. I almost said Taron Egerton. That's Kingsman. Joel Edgerton's going to be in the movie with him. And if you haven't watched David Ayer's movies before Suicide Squad, no matter what your feelings on Suicide Squad were, they really set up a success for this movie. I mean, Fury is one of the best war movies of all time. David Ayer really is a great creator. He wrote the original Training Day movie. It's huge.
Fury's fantastic. It's hard to watch. I mean, it's an intense movie.
And the cool thing about this movie is if you're on the fence about watching it, about going to the theater and paying $15, you don't have to. This is going to be a Netflix exclusive movie. They paid something like $90 million to get the rights to it, and it's going to stream exclusively on Netflix in December. So that's really cool. It's their biggest movie to date.
Well, like, you got to wonder if this is a success, however Netflix measures success. Yeah. What does this mean for the future of Netflix original properties? Is it not just series now? Are we going to start getting some A-list talent?
Well, and I think you're going to start seeing shows in Netflix, movies on Netflix start qualifying for more awards because they're competing.
Yeah,
Netflix is going to Sundance and going to Cannes, and they're going to these big festivals and outbidding big studios for these movies.
Right.
It's huge. They just had a big one debut this week. I got to give a shout out real quick to Michael Doyle on Facebook. He had maybe the best idea about this Lost in Humans thing. Hurley for Black Bolt.
How is that? Look, I love Jorge Garcia, all-around great guy. Hurley's a fun character, but I can't get behind that casting choice. There's a few good pairings. Actually, if you go to Comicbook.com, it's probably buried by now. I wrote this on Friday, but then we actually wrote up a slideshow of a whole bunch of different actors and how their characters on Lost could actually translate perfectly to characters on Inhumans. Jorge Garcia as Black Bolt, not one of those write-ups, not one of those picks. But
sorry, I thought it was funny.
Hey, no, that's actually.
You picture it.
I think he's joking. I think he's kind of joking. Yeah, Jorge Garcia with the little.
I dig it.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I can't give that my endorsement.
I'll take it. All right, Andrew Hayes. He wanted to know what 80s action star we'd like to see join the MCU or the DCEU. And playing which character?
I mean, we already have Sylvester Stallone joining. That's
not
true.
Enough? And Kurt
we don't
Russell
even know who he's going to play. Kurt Russell?
Yeah.
I want to see Jackie Chan take over as Iron Man. Iron Chan.
Oh.
No, I'd like to see. Well, but what? I haven't really followed the '80s action stars recently. It's been like 30 years.
It's been a while. I mean, haven't you watched Expendables?
Expendables, yeah. I just throw the whole cast in there. Jason Statham's not an '80s action star, but he's in the Expendables. Chuck Norris as Hercules. That could work.
He's a little short, but you could make it work if he's still,
Make Jean-Claude Van Damme literally anything. That would be awesome.
Jean-Claude, being in shape, Jean-Claude from Bloodsport is still in very good shape.
Jean-Claude, you have a pick?
Yeah, mine's a little weird.
Let's hear it.
People might not like it. I would take Alan Scott, the original Green Lantern, and cast Mel Gibson. Alan Scott in some of the comic storylines is around. He's kind of this Elseworlds guy. He came back to Earth after Hal Jordan and John Stewart and those guys kind of rose to power, and he's a little old and wacky and different.
Why don't we go with the pick that you mentioned when you were coming up with this question? You had a very interesting suggestion.
I did until I thought about it, and then I decided against it. But we'll go with it.
It was
Arnold Schwarzenegger as Darkseid.
Can we just imagine what that would be like?
It'd be weird.
Justice League. I'm coming for you. Justice League. I will not let you have all the parademons. Like that, I can't. Actually, you know what? On second thought, sign me up.
Dude, I'd be all about it.
Zack Snyder's our director. Could you imagine the press tour?
Get to the Batcave.
All right. Let's get one more question.
All right, one more question.
I think we just lost every viewer. I think everyone just dropped out of the show. They were like, what am I watching? I'm sorry.
All right, so Walking Dead was last night. I loved the episode.
Was Walking Dead on?
John Luchelle, I hope I said that right, wants to know, is Carl from Walking Dead still going to be on the show? There's been so many rumors about him leaving and staying.
This might be like a small spoiler, but Carl actually dies in this Sunday's episode.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it,
I don't know if you get. I'm just kidding. But no, absolutely, Carl. I can't imagine this show going on without Carl. I can't imagine Robert Kirkman would want to continue writing this show without Carl in it. Carl is his favorite character to write. He's named after his father, blah, blah, blah. But more importantly, Carl's so integral to this and to driving Rick Grimes forward. And what happened was, the reason all this stuff keeps coming up, why this is still a conversation, Carl Chandler Riggs, the kid who plays, and I say kid, he just turned 18.
Yeah, he's not a kid anymore.
He filled out a 7-year contract. When they signed on for the show, it was a 7-year contract. Obviously, they're going to renegotiate their contract. Reedus and Lincoln just renegotiated their contracts. When you sign on for a show, you don't sign a 20-year contract. Most people don't expect their show to go 2 seasons, let alone 7 successfully, to go into 8 and more. What happened? He said he's got into college. He's going to go to college. He plans on going to college. Somehow he's going to work that out. But he's not going anywhere. He'll be in season 8.
And the thing to remember here with those contracts you're talking about, contracts are going to change as you become a legal adult. When he turns 18, those negotiations are going to be much different than when he was 17. And so,
I mean, his agent is still doing it either way.
Right. I understand, but he's eligible for different things as a legal adult. So they weren't going to try and re-up a child's contract and then him become an adult and then get paid child's money.
What's so impressive about this is that he is still in high school. And I was hearing that him and Caitlin Nacon, who plays Enid, will be on set, and in between takes, they'll be in their trailers just showing each other flashcards to study for a test. So they're not, they're working harder than anybody else on the set. Maybe Andrew Lincoln works pretty hard, but I think that Chandler and Caitlin are on that.
They're busting it hard. All day.
All right, guys, that's all we have time for today. That's my favorite part of the show. I love it when you guys comment. So please continue to comment. We'll drop in there and talk with you guys. Share us with your friends and all that good stuff. We'll be back tomorrow. On behalf of Charlie Ridgely and Comic Book Nation, I'm Brandon Davis. We'll see you for Comic Book Now at 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
Push ourselves.